Welcome to the Motivational Library.
Most people will never encounter what you are about to hear, and those who do are rarely unchanged by it. Long before history recorded its first memory, there was a time when human beings understood who they truly were. They did not see themselves as fragile, limited, or imprisoned by circumstance. They knew that thought moved like energy, that emotion carried magnetic force, and that consciousness itself was the spark through which reality took form. They walked the world as creators, not observers. That knowing was never destroyed. It was buried, hidden behind symbols, encoded in ancient texts, passed quietly through inner circles and initiation schools, protected from misuse and misunderstanding. It endured the rise and fall of civilizations, survived war and silence, and waited patiently for the moment humanity would be ready to remember again. Today, we call this understanding metaphysics. The ancients knew it as the mechanics of the soul. And despite centuries of suppression, the truth never vanished. It simply waited for minds capable of awakening and hearts willing to remember. If you are reading this now, it is not an accident. You were not led here by chance or coincidence. Something within you recognized a familiar frequency, one it has not heard in lifetimes. You have arrived at the edge of remembrance, not to learn something new, but to recall what has always been yours. What follows is not theory, belief, or philosophy. It is a set of keys. Keys that unlock the hidden structure of your reality. Keys that reveal why your life has unfolded the way it has. Keys that show how energy, thought, and spirit have been shaping your destiny from the inside out, every moment of your existence. As each key turns, something ancient within you will begin to stir. A power that rests beneath your thoughts, beneath your emotions, beneath the identity you have worn until now. This is the beginning of your return, not to something foreign or unfamiliar, but to the truth you carried long before you were born. Chapter 1: The Law of Vibration. You don't attract what you want. You resonate what you are. You were taught to ask, to wish, to pray, to wait for something outside of you to answer. You were told that effort, repetition, and hope would eventually convince the world to respond. But what if what you've been waiting for has been speaking from within you all along? The universe does not respond to words. It does not listen to begging, affirmations, or carefully constructed plans. It responds only to vibration. Everything that exists, every sound, every thought, every emotion is energy in motion. This movement, this living pulse, never stops. Even now, as you absorb these words, there is a rhythm beneath your heartbeat, a quiet hum beneath your thoughts. That vibration is your signal to the universe, and it never lies. You are transmitting energy every second, whether you're aware of it or not. And life, precise and impartial, reflects that signal back to you like a flawless mirror. Think about how often you've tried to force outcomes. How many times have you pushed, planned, struggled, or pleaded for life to move faster? You visualized. You worked harder. You repeated affirmations until they lost their meaning. Yet something always felt misaligned. You said, "I am abundant," while fear vibrated beneath your words. You said, "I am loved," while loneliness echoed behind your smile. You said, "I am ready," while your energy whispered, "I'm afraid." And the universe, exact, faithful, and neutral, responded to the vibration, not the statement. That is why the same lessons keep appearing in new disguises. Why opportunities arrive only to slip away again. Not because life is cruel, but because vibration is precise. This law is not personal. It is musical. And until the tone changes, the melody repeats. You've been trying to attract with language while repelling with frequency. You've been exhausted because you've been singing two songs at once, the one you speak and the one your soul is actually playing. Here is the truth no one explained to you. The universe does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. You don't attract from hope. You attract from state. Your outer world is simply your inner vibration made visible. Every person you meet, every situation that unfolds, every coincidence that stirs something inside you, these are not random events. They are notes of the same song, your song. So when life feels chaotic, it isn't attacking you. It is inviting you to retune. That is why awareness is power. The moment you notice the vibration beneath your emotion, you reclaim the conductor's baton. You stop reacting to life and begin orchestrating it. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe slowly. Feel the space between your thoughts. That subtle current beneath awareness, that is your vibration. It is not confined to your body. It expands outward, communicating, resonating, shaping. Your emotions are not weaknesses. They are instruments. They tell you when you are in harmony with your higher self and when you have slipped into distortion. Tension signals a lower octave. Peace signals alignment. You do not need to fight your emotions. You need to listen to them. When sadness arises, say, I am tuning my instrument. When fear surfaces, say, I am remembering the music I came here to play. Emotion is movement, and movement alters vibration. When you shift how you feel, the entire energetic field rearranges itself to match your new tone. That is why miracles appear when you least expect them. They are not random. They are harmonic. You finally strike the note life has been waiting for. You do not need to control the symphony. You only need to play your note in tune. That is the essence of the law of vibration. The outer world is your echo. The moment you change, the song changes. Listen again. The rhythm beneath these words is not sound. It is remembrance. You are not broken. You are not late. You are not behind. You have simply drifted out of tune with your own power. And in this breath, right now, you can retune. The universe is not punishing you. It is harmonizing you. Every delay, every loss, every heartbreak was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to refine you. When you stop resisting the frequency and begin flowing with it, something extraordinary emerges. Peace, stillness, and the knowing that everything has always been connected to you. Because it has. You are not separate from creation. You are creation remembering itself. Hold this moment. Return to it. The more you hear it, the more you feel it. And the more you feel it, the faster your vibration rises. You do not need to demand abundance. You only need to remember what wholeness feels like. Once you do, reality has no choice but to match it. The vibration you hold becomes the mirror you live in. And if the universe is a song, then the next law reveals its reflection, the moment when energy becomes form, when what you vibrate within begins to appear without. Chapter 2. The Mirror of Reality. The world doesn't happen to you. It responds to you. Each morning you open your eyes believing the world is waiting for you. As if reality begins only when you awaken. You move through your day assuming you exist inside something called the world. A place filled with people, objects, and events beyond your control. But what if the world isn't happening to you? What if it's happening through you? Every encounter, every coincidence, every delay, none of it is random. Each is a reflection of your vibration. A mirror revealing the frequency you carry. You think you are observing life, but life is showing you what you have been transmitting all along. You don't live in the world. You live in your perception of it. And perception is vibration made visible. There was a time you believed circumstances determined your peace. That once things went your way, you could finally relax. That if people treated you better, you would feel loved. That if you earned enough, achieved enough, became enough, you would finally be safe. So you tried to fix the reflection. You changed jobs. You changed cities. You changed relationships. Yet the same stories kept reappearing, wearing different names and faces. Because you can move anywhere, but you always bring your vibration with you. The outer world does not create the inner storm. It reveals it. You were never truly fighting other people. You were confronting your own reflection within them. Every argument, every disappointment, every repeated cycle of fear or scarcity. Each one was the universe holding up a mirror and saying, "Look, this is what you are vibrating." And mirrors make us uncomfortable. They don't flatter us. They reveal us. So we shatter them, label them unfair, and blame the reflection for the face we refuse to see. But here is the truth. Life is not personal. It is precise. The universe does not punish or reward. It reflects. Every experience is consciousness looking back at itself. When you realize this, the illusion of victimhood dissolves. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What vibration within me called this forward?" You stop fearing circumstances and start studying them, because they are no longer enemies. They are teachers. Every situation is a sacred mirror. And once its message is understood, it no longer needs to repeat. That is why awareness heals faster than effort. You don't fix reflections. You shift the source of the light. Make this real. Think of something that frustrates you, someone who triggers you, a situation that feels impossible to change. Instead of reacting, pause. Ask yourself, what emotion is being reflected back to me? What belief of mine is taking physical form here? Is it the fear of not being seen? The fear of losing control? The vibration of unworthiness echoing through another person's behavior? This is how consciousness speaks to itself. Your reality is not random. It is responsive. And the moment you recognize what it is showing you, the illusion of separation begins to dissolve. You no longer see enemies. You see mirrors wearing different faces. You stop chasing external change and begin shifting your internal tone. Because when your vibration changes, everything that resonates with the old one fades away, and everything aligned with the new one appears. That is why miracles feel sudden. But they are not. They are simply reality updating itself to match who you have become. Life is a constant dialogue between your inner state and the universe. Every complaint amplifies the mirror. Every blessing softens it. Every act of love brightens the entire field. You are not powerless. You are broadcasting. You are not waiting for change. You are vibrating it. This is the secret of the mirror. It can only show you who you believe you are. So if you want the world to look different, don't polish the glass. Change the image behind it. If you want peace, stop waging war within yourself. If you want love, become the feeling of love before anyone arrives. If you want abundance, live as though you already have everything you need, because in truth you do. That is when the reflection shifts. That is when doors open. That is when reality bends, not because you forced it, but because you remembered how the law works. The world is your canvas, your mirror, your echo, and every time you rise, it rises with you. So don't curse the reflection. Bless it. Bless what it is revealing. Bless every obstacle as divine feedback, fine-tuning your frequency toward harmony. This is not philosophy. This is physics of the soul. When you hold love, you meet love. When you embody peace, you magnetize peace. When you choose gratitude in the storm transforms into sunlight. Everything responds to the tone you hold. And now that you understand the mirror, the sacred law that turns invisible vibration into visible reality, the next truth takes you deeper still. Because what you see reflected is not random light. It is rhythm. The universe does not move in straight lines. It breathes. It flows. It dances in cycles, rising and falling like tides of divine intelligence. The next law reveals how to move with that rhythm instead of against it, how to trust the timing of the infinite, how to stop forcing and start flowing. Once you learn the rhythm of creation, you will never call anything a delay again. Chapter 3: The Law of Rhythm. Life breathes through you. Everything in the universe moves in rhythm. Planets trace their orbits with sacred precision. Oceans rise and fall. The sun ascends, and the moon replaces it in perfect order. Nothing in nature rushes, and yet nothing is ever late. Every living thing moves in cycles. And so do you. But somewhere along the way, humanity forgot the rhythm. We began forcing what was meant to flow. We turned divine timing into deadlines and replaced trust with control. That is why we feel exhausted, not because life is heavy, but because we keep swimming against its current. You were not born to fight the rhythm. You were born to dance with it. You've been conditioned to believe that progress means constant motion, that if you're not producing, achieving, or manifesting something new, you are falling behind. So you push, you chase, you strain to keep pace with a world that no longer listens to its own heartbeat. And when life slows you down, you panic. You call it failure. You call it delay. But what you are experiencing is not failure. It is rhythm. Every seed must rest in darkness before it blooms. Every wave must retreat before it can rise again. Even your breath teaches this truth. Inhale, exhale, pause, expansion, contraction, stillness. But you only celebrate the inhale. You want endless growth, endless productivity, endless summer. You forget that even the sun rests. You mistake the silence between beats for emptiness. when in truth, that silence is where the music begins again. Look back at your life. Every fall was followed by a rise. Every loss eventually revealed a hidden gift. Every closed door redirected you toward something greater. You survived every storm you believed would destroy you. Not because you fought harder, but because rhythm carried you forward. When something is taken from you, it is not punishment. It is rhythm clearing space for the next note. You are part of a vast symphony. A wave within an ocean that knows exactly when to pull back and when to surge. You do not control the tide. You belong to it. And the moment you stop resisting the rhythm, peace returns. Not because life becomes easier, but because you stop interrupting its dance. How do you live in rhythm again? First, stop labeling your seasons. Low moments are not failures. They are sacred winters. Necessary pauses where your roots deepen before you rise again. Second, listen. Life speaks through timing. When things slow down, you are being recalibrated. When they accelerate, you are ready. You are not being delayed. You are being tuned. When you lose something, say, "The rhythm is changing key, and I am learning to flow with it." When nothing seems to move, whisper, "The universe is inhaling. Soon, it will exhale through me." When everything collapses at once, remind yourself, "This is not chaos. This is rhythm rearranging my melody." Now try this. Close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. Feel it beating steady, alive. That pulse is not random. It is the same pulse that moves galaxies. The same frequency that carries oceans. Imagine that rhythm extending beyond your body, linking you to every living thing. With each breath, you are syncing with the rhythm of creation itself. When you walk through life with this awareness, everything begins to harmonize. Conversations unfold at the right moment. Opportunities appear without force. Synchronicities multiply not by chance but by rhythm. The law of rhythm teaches this. Whatever you force will resist you. Whatever you flow with will carry you. Remember, you are not separate from the flow. You are the flow. The rhythm that spins the stars is the same rhythm that moves your heart. When you align with it, you stop being a person struggling through life and become life expressing itself effortlessly. There is a peace that arrives only when you stop trying to control the music. When you release your deadlines, your worries, your expectations, and trust that the next beat will come, because it always does. You begin to live like the ocean, never afraid of the ebb, never attached to the wave, always trusting that both are sacred. Listen carefully. Nothing you have lost is truly gone. It is returning in a higher rhythm. Nothing meant for you can ever miss you, because divine timing is never early, never late. It is exact. So when life seems to pause, do not panic. Do not fill the silence with noise. Breathe, and remember, stillness is not absence. It is preparation. In the rhythm of existence, the pause is sacred. The rest note is what gives music its beauty. Flow with it. Trust it. Move with the pulse of the infinite. And when you do, you will finally understand peace. Not the peace of escape, but the peace of alignment. You now understand rhythm, the sacred pulse of the universe. But an even deeper mystery waits ahead. Because while rhythm moves everything, it also reveals another hidden order, correspondence. Everything above mirrors everything below. The galaxies turning overhead reflect the structure of your own consciousness. The next law will reveal this symmetry, how every corner of the cosmos echoes your inner world. And when you see that clearly, you will realize there is no out there. There is only you seen from different angles. Chapter 4. The Law of Correspondence. As within, so without. Everything you see outside of you began inside of you. The people who enter your life, the opportunities that find you, the challenges that test you. None of these are coincidences. They are coordinates. They are reflections of invisible patterns moving within your own consciousness. The ancients captured this truth in a single, timeless sentence. As above, so below. As within, so without. You are both the seed and the soil, the artist and the canvas, the dreamer and the dream itself. When you truly understand this, life stops appearing random. It reveals itself as a mirror, showing you what exists within your inner world. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" You begin to whisper, "What part of me is this revealing?" And that question changes everything. We live in an age obsessed with appearance. We decorate the surface, polish the mask, chase approval and call it success. But the outer world never obeys outer adjustments. You can rearrange the furniture of your life. New career, new relationship, new city, and still feel the same unease following you wherever you go. Because no matter where you travel, you bring yourself with you. Frustration, self-doubt, scarcity, the endless cycle of almost, these do not originate in the world outside. They arise from patterns carried within. You can change your environment 1,000 times, but if the inner vibration remains unchanged, the script will simply rewrite itself with different characters. That is why life repeats the same lessons. Not to punish you, but to reveal where harmony has been lost inside. Outer chaos is inner conflict projected outward. Outer delay is inner doubt made visible in time. Outer rejection is the inner whisper that says, I am not enough. Nothing outside you has ever held power over you. It has only echoed what you were broadcasting from within. Here is the realization that liberates you completely. The world is not happening to you. It is happening as you. Every experience is a response to your internal tone. Every event in your life is a symbol of your state of consciousness. When your inner world is noisy, life appears chaotic. When your inner world is calm, life moves with order. The law of correspondence states that the structure of reality mirrors the structure of the mind. The macrocosm reflects the microcosm. The universe is not somewhere out there. It is expressing itself through you in form. When this truth becomes clear, you stop chasing control and begin mastering reflection. You stop trying to fix what is happening outside and start transforming the vibration projecting it. You stop blaming the reflection and begin working with the mirror. Here is how you live this law. Whenever something in your life feels unbalanced, pause instead of reacting. Observe it. Say to yourself, this is my consciousness made visible. Then ask, what belief or emotion within me is this showing? If you face rejection, it is not the person rejecting you. It is an unhealed belief of unworthiness asking to be seen. If you face scarcity, it is not the economy. It is fear echoing through your energetic field. If you face conflict, it is not the other person. It is resistance still living within you. The outer world is your teacher. It repeats the lesson until you recognize the vibration behind it. The moment you shift that energy inside, the mirror responds immediately. This is the secret few understand. The fastest way to change your life is not by changing your routine, your location, your relationships, your audience, or your income. It is by changing your inner atmosphere, your vibration. When your frequency changes, the outer world must follow. Reality is obedient to consciousness. It does not argue. It does not negotiate. It simply reflects. That is why stillness holds such power. In stillness, the inner world finds symmetry. And when symmetry is restored within, harmony appears without. Try this. The next time something frustrates you, pause. Do not speak. Do not judge. Feel the energy behind the experience. Observe it as a reflection of you. Then breathe into it, not to suppress it, but to neutralize it. In that breath, you reclaim your authority. Because the moment you recognize yourself in what triggers you, the mirror loses control. You begin shaping it. You are the meeting point between heaven and earth, the bridge where energy becomes matter. Your entire life is a sacred dialogue between the invisible and the visible. When you bless what you see, you heal what you cannot see. When you love the reflection, you transform the source. Nothing around you is meaningless. The delays, the synchronicities, the words overheard in passing. They are all communications from a deeper intelligence within you. The universe is not testing you. It is responding to you. So if you want a different reflection, polish the mirror of your mind. If you want abundance, vibrate gratitude before it arrives. If you want to meet higher souls, embody higher energy. If you want peace, speak peace into your own heart first. When you find heaven within, you begin to see heaven everywhere. This law never fails. It cannot be tricked, bypassed, or manipulated. It reflects only truth, and that is its mercy. So bless what you see, even the pain, especially the pain. Because the moment you stop fighting the reflection and begin understanding it, it changes. And in that instant, the mirror of the world shines back your divinity. Now that you understand how the inner world shapes the outer one, the next law reveals something even deeper, the process by which energy transforms itself. how thought becomes form, how emotion becomes movement, how consciousness transmutes shadow into light. It is the secret that turns fear into power, pain into wisdom, and desire into manifestation. The next chapter reveals the divine mechanism behind transformation itself. Chapter 5. The Law of Transmutation. What you bless, you transform. There are only two ways energy can move through you. You either resist it or you redeem it. Every thought, every emotion, every experience is pure energy, raw, neutral, divine in its essence. Yet humanity learned to label this energy as good or bad, light or dark, sacred or sinful. But energy does not recognize your labels. It obeys only one law, transmutation. Energy cannot be destroyed, can only change form. The anger you suppress becomes illness. The grief you avoid turns into numbness. The fear you deny becomes a shadow that follows you everywhere. But the moment you meet that energy with awareness, the vibration that once imprisoned you begins to rise. What you bless, you transform. What you resist, you imprison. And the world you experience is nothing more than the alchemy of your own consciousness in motion. For most of your life, you were taught to run from pain, to stay positive, to avoid negativity as if it were a disease. But what you resist persists because resistance feeds energy. Every feeling you suppress becomes locked into your vibration. Every wound you ignore is given permission to govern your life from the shadows. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel. You cannot rise while rejecting the weight that anchors you. You cannot experience heaven while denying the hell within. That is why the same cycles repeat. The same arguments, the same fears, the same disappointments, different faces, identical frequency. The universe is not punishing you. It is inviting you to transform. It keeps presenting the same energy until you stop running from it and learn to bless it. Here is the truth hidden beneath centuries of misunderstanding. Light is not the opposite of darkness. It is the awareness brought into it. The moment consciousness touches pain, its structure changes. Its frequency rises. What was once poison becomes power. This is transmutation, the divine chemistry of the soul. This is why forgiveness liberates you. Not because the past disappears, but because energy rearranges itself when met with love. Every painful emotion is a lower vibration seeking your light. It is not your enemy. It is your student, waiting for awareness to elevate it into a higher form. When you bless what hurts, you rewrite the energetic code sustaining it. And the moment that code changes, your outer life responds not gradually but instantly because you have altered the frequency that created it. So how do you live this law? Begin with honesty. Stop pretending you are fine when you are not. Stop using positivity as a mask. The light does not need your performance. It needs your permission. When pain arises, do not analyze it. Do not shame it. Simply bless it. Say aloud or silently, I bless this feeling. I release the need to resist it. I allow it to rise and become light. Feel it fully. Let it move through you like sound through space. Cannot harm you. It is only energy in motion. As you breathe into it, imagine the frequency changing, dense becoming subtle, heavy becoming luminous. This is not imagination. This is metaphysical science. You are literally altering the electromagnetic field of your body, transmuting shadow into power. Every thought and emotion is a current. When you bless it, you reverse its polarity. Hate becomes compassion. Fear becomes awareness. Guilt becomes wisdom. Pain becomes presence. This is the same law that turns carbon into diamond, pressure into strength, fire into light. It is not escape. It is evolution. When you stop fighting your energy, you allow the universe to refine it for you. The storm does not leave because you run from it. It leaves because you stop feeding it. When you meet it with stillness, its force returns to the source, where everything becomes useful again. So pause now. Take a breath. Think of the thing that hurts the most, the memory, the person, the fear that never quite loosens its grip. Do not turn away. Face it. That energy is not darkness. It is unexpressed divinity waiting for your blessing. Whisper softly, I see you. I bless you. You are free to return to the light. And feel it. The warmth spreading in your chest. The softening of the field around you. That is energy remembering its purpose. You were never meant to conquer darkness. You were meant to integrate it. Every saint was once a sinner who stopped fighting their own shadow. Every enlightened being arrived there because they finally loved what they once feared. This is how worlds heal, one vibration at a time. So bless it all. Bless what you lost. Bless what broke you. Bless what you cannot yet understand. Because one day you will look back and realize what you called pain was grace in disguise. The universe is not cruel. It is alchemical. It transforms everything you offer it. And the moment you stop resisting, the same energy that once wounded you begins to serve you. That is the magic of transmutation. You do not escape life. You evolve through it. So do not pray for fewer challenges. Pray for more light. Because when the light within you grows strong enough, even darkness bows to serve it. Now that you understand transmutation, the sacred power of turning resistance into radiance, you are ready for the next law. Because once energy is lifted, it begins to multiply. The law of cause and effect awaits. The next chapter reveals how every vibration you send returns magnified. How the universe maintains perfect balance, never losing a single note in the symphony of creation. You will discover that karma is not punishment. It is precision. It is your own vibration meeting itself again, reminding you of who you have become. Chapter 6. The Law of Cause and Effect. Nothing happens to you. Everything answers you. Nothing in this universe is random. Every whisper, every encounter, every turn of fate carries a cause. We call it coincidence, but the universe does not gamble. Calculates. It responds. It mirrors. You are living inside a field of absolute precision, where every vibration you release eventually returns to you, clothed as experience. The law of cause and effect is not about punishment. It is about resonance. It is the cosmic echo of your own frequency returning home. Every thought you think is a seed. Every emotion you feel is water. Every action you take is sunlight. And in time, what you plant blooms in exact alignment with its origin. This is not superstition. It is divine mathematics. The universe is exact, but you were taught otherwise. You were taught that life is unpredictable, that luck rules outcomes, that fate randomly favors some and forgets others. So you learn to move through life reacting instead of creating. You grow angry at what seems unfair. You resent the reflection without understanding the cause behind it. You ask, why do I keep attracting pain? Why do I meet the same people again and again? Why does the same story repeat? And life, faithful to its law, answers softly. Because this is the frequency you keep sending. What you feel within is what you train the universe to repeat. When you vibrate fear, life gives you more reasons to fear. When you vibrate gratitude, life multiplies what is already present. The law is not emotional. It does not judge vibrations as right or wrong. It simply reflects them. So when your world feels chaotic, it is not proof of failure. It is feedback. Your external reality is the universe saying, this is what you are broadcasting. Here is the truth that frees you. Nothing happens to you. Everything happens through you. Every event is a messenger. Every moment is an echo. The angry driver, the missed opportunity, the closed door. These are not punishments. They are returning vibrations sent out long ago, completing their journey back to you to reveal what you have been transmitting. When you understand this, victimhood dissolves. How can you be a victim of your own vibration? How can you curse what you yourself have set in motion? This realization does not make you guilty. Try this. When something unpleasant happens, pause instead of reacting. Say quietly, this is a returning vibration. I bless it. I receive the lesson. That single shift alters your frequency instantly. You move from reaction into creation. You are no longer trapped by energy, you are directing it. And the moment you bless the echo, it transforms. The cycle completes. The pattern dissolves. Listen carefully. The universe is not keeping score. It is keeping balance. Every vibration seeks its counterpart. Every cause seeks completion. That is why no act of love is ever wasted. No prayer goes unheard. No seed planted in faith ever dies. The law of cause and effect ensures that every thought, every feeling, every gesture of your soul returns to you, not as judgment, but as confirmation that divine order exists. You cannot escape this law, but you can align with it. When you stop fearing consequences and start mastering causes, you step into true creation. The universe is not a courtroom. It is a mirror. It does not punish. It harmonizes. It does not choose sides. It balances. So bless your causes. Bless your effects. Bless the law that holds stars in their orbits and faithfully returns your energy to you so you can evolve. Every echo you meet is the universe whispering, become conscious of what you are creating. This is divine justice, not the justice of punishment, but the justice of perfection. Nothing that returns to you is retribution. It is revelation. The field is flawless. The universe keeps nothing you did not send and withholds nothing you have earned. When you live with this awareness, your body relaxes. Your mind quiets. You stop fearing the future because you know it is formed from your present. You stop resenting the past because you see how it refined you. And you begin to live deliberately, as a conscious vibration shaping its own destiny. Now that you understand the perfect symmetry of cause and effect, you are ready for a deeper truth, the hidden balance between opposites, the cosmic polarity governing all creation. The next chapter reveals the law of polarity, the truth that every shadow carries its own light, that opposites are not enemies but complements, necessary halves of a single whole. You will learn why pain gives birth to wisdom, why endings create beginnings, and how mastering both ends of the spectrum is the gateway to spiritual freedom. Chapter 7. The Law of Polarity. The light you seek hides in your shadow. Every truth casts a shadow. Every light creates its opposite. And every soul, no matter how awakened, must pass through both. This is the law of polarity, the sacred architecture of balance woven into the universe itself. You cannot rise without descent. You cannot heal without touching what is wounded. You cannot awaken without first seeing where you have been asleep. The human mind divides existence into sides, good and bad, holy and sinful, light and dark. But the universe does not choose sides. It unites them. What you call shadow is not working against you. It is a doorway, an invitation to the parts of you still asking to be loved. And the moment you stop running from that doorway, you discover a profound truth. The darkness you have feared is not a curse. It is the womb of your awakening. From early on, you were taught to reject half of yourself, to suppress anger, to hide fear, to deny doubt, to silence desire. You learned to perform light even when your soul trembled in shadow. But what you repress does not disappear. It descends quietly into the subconscious, waiting to be seen. You call it bad luck. You call it self-sabotage. You call it unexplained sadness or resistance. But it is simply the unloved part of you asking for recognition. The universe, faithful to balance, keeps revealing what you disown. Through people who trigger you. Through situations that stretch you. Through moments that shake your certainty. The more you resist these mirrors, the louder they speak. You can pretend to be enlightened, but your shadow knows the truth. It speaks through your fears, through your emotional reactions, through the qualities you judge most harshly in others. Because what you reject in them is what you have not yet embraced in yourself. Here is a truth few are willing to face. The greater the light you carry, the deeper the shadow you are meant to integrate. This is not punishment. It is balance. And here is the revelation that changes everything. Your shadow is not darkness. It is light that has not yet been welcomed. Every emotion you label as negative is divine energy seeking liberation. Anger is power misunderstood. Fear is faith that has forgotten itself. Shame is love turned inward without direction. Each time you meet these energies with compassion instead of resistance, they rise in vibration. They stop binding you and begin serving you. Chains become channels. This is why enlightenment is not escape from duality. It is reconciliation with it. The master does not live above opposites. The master walks between them, the saint and the sinner, the serpent and the savior, the fire and the ocean, all expressions of one consciousness learning to recognize itself. You were never meant to destroy the darkness. You were meant to illuminate it. And the moment you bless your shadow, the inner war ends. In that silence, you begin to sense the divine order hidden inside what once felt like chaos. So how do you work with polarity consciously? Begin with awareness. When something triggers you, pause instead of defending. Ask gently, what part of me is being revealed? When anger arises, ask, what truth about my boundaries is asking to be honored? When jealousy appears, ask, what unexpressed potential within me is waiting to be claimed? When fear surfaces, ask, what part of me still believes I am separate from the source? Each question turns shadow into light. Each pause releases energy trapped in resistance. Then bless what you find not as a concept, but as a vibration. Whisper inwardly, I bless this feeling. I welcome its wisdom. I allow it to transform. Do not fix it. Do not fight it. Do not force positivity. Just be present. Polarity only wounds when you choose sides. But when you stand at the center, the still axis between night and day, peace arises naturally. Awareness does not destroy darkness. It dissolves the illusion of separation. Try this now. Close your eyes. Visualize a steady, golden flame in your chest. Alive, calm, unwavering. Around it, see your fears, doubts, and wounds circling like shadows. Now watch as the flame expands, gently embracing them all. No judgment, no resistance, only light. That warmth you feel is integration. That stillness is harmony restored. Each time you include what you once rejected, you become more whole. And wholeness is the true signature of divinity. You are both the dawn and the dusk, the storm and the silence that follows. Stop calling one sacred and the other profane. Both arise from the same source. The universe breathes through contrast. Without winter, there is no spring. Without silence, there is no song. Without shadow, there is no form. When you truly understand this, you stop labeling your seasons. You begin blessing them. You say, this too is divine. This too is me. And that recognition changes everything. You stop fearing death because you see it as transformation. You stop resenting loss because you recognize the space it creates. You stop avoiding discomfort because you feel the evolution hidden within it. The law of polarity reveals the mercy behind contrast. It teaches that the tension you once hated is what sharpens consciousness into clarity. So bless your shadows. Bless the pain. Bless the mistakes and the chapters that still ache to be loved. Because once they are seen through awareness, they stop being enemies. They become teachers. And then you finally understand the ancient whisper carried through time. The darkness was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to wake you. When light and shadow hold hands, the soul becomes whole again. That is polarity fulfilled. That is divine equilibrium. Now that you have learned to stand at the center of opposites, the next law carries you into movement, momentum, and creative force. Because once polarity is mastered, courage awakens. The next chapter reveals the law of gender, the sacred union of thought and feeling, the divine marriage of idea and emotion that gives birth to every creation in your life. You will discover that the masculine and feminine within you are not rivals, but partners. And when they unite, creation begins to flow effortlessly. Chapter 8. The Law of Gender, the Marriage of Thought and Feeling. Creation is never random. It is born from union, a sacred marriage between two invisible forces living within you. One gives direction, the other gives life. One imagines, the other nurtures. One is the seed, the other is the womb. This is the law of gender, the divine principle behind all manifestation. It exists everywhere. In nature, in energy, in consciousness, and in you. Every idea that enters your mind carries masculine energy, a spark of intention, a blueprint of possibility. Every feeling that sustains it carries feminine energy, the substance that shapes, nourishes, and brings it to life. When these two forces unite in harmony, a new reality is conceived. First in silence, then in vibration, and finally in form. You were born through this law. You create through this law. And until you learn to balance it, your inner world remains divided, filled with ideas that lack emotion and emotions that lack direction. Most people live out of rhythm with this sacred union. Some dwell almost entirely in the masculine. They think endlessly, analyze constantly, push forward with ambition and control, yet feel disconnected, dry, and restless. Their ideas remain sterile because they are never infused with feeling. Others live primarily in the feminine. They feel deeply, sense intuitively, and dream vividly but never act. Their emotions overflow without structure, dissolving into confusion rather than creation. So the world swings between extremes: action without faith, feeling without form, thought without life, emotion without direction. But manifestation requires marriage. Creation happens only when vision meets vibration, when masculine focus blends with feminine surrender. Thought without feeling cannot give birth. Feeling without focus cannot hold form. Only when an idea is held steadily in the mind and faithfully embraced by the heart does creation begin to breathe. The ancients called this the sacred wedding of heaven and earth. This is not about physical gender. It is about energetic polarity. The masculine within you declares, "Let there be." The feminine within you answers, "And it is." Every time you imagine something, you plant a seed. Every time you feel it as real, you conceive it. This is why thought alone never creates. It is only half of the equation. You must feel the reality, not as a wish, not as a plea, but as a living presence within you. Your mind is the sculptor. Your heart is the clay. Together, they shape your world. When these two forces within you learn to love one another, something profound happens. You stop chasing outcomes. You stop forcing results. You begin to gestate miracles. You no longer demand, you expect. You no longer struggle, you align. Because you understand that once the inner union has occurred, the outer manifestation is inevitable. So how do you activate the law of gender consciously? Begin with an idea, something you desire to experience. Hold it clearly in your mind. Do not worry about how. The masculine does not chase outcomes. It defines the vision. Then shift into the feminine. Close your eyes. Feel what it would be like if it were already true. Do not strain to visualize images. Instead, vibrate the emotion. Let the feeling expand like warmth in your chest. That warmth is the spiritual womb. That is where creation begins. Remain with the feeling until it becomes natural, until your heart and mind are no longer in conflict, until the thought feels real and the feeling feels calm. Then release it, not in neglect, but in trust. Just as the earth knows how to grow a seed once it is planted, your subconscious knows how to manifest a reality once it is conceived. The masculine acts in faith. The feminine receives in silence. You may not see immediate results. You never see the seed sprout the moment it is buried. Yet life has already begun. Creation is moving unseen. Your only responsibility now is to protect the vibration, not by clinging to it, but by remaining in quiet expectancy. The union has already occurred. Life itself will take care of the birth. This is why impatience disrupts manifestation. It interferes with gestation. Doubt is the abortion of the spirit. But faith, nurtured in stillness, allows consciousness to mature. Look around you. Every flower, every star, every breath you take is evidence of this law. The sun gives. The earth receives. Life emerges from their dance. The ocean flows and retreats. Day yields to night. Sound is born from silence. Movement arises from stillness. Everything exists in sacred rhythm and duality. So must you. Let your inner masculine be your direction. Focused, disciplined, unwavering. Let your inner feminine be your devotion. Receptive, trusting, alive. Together they create harmony. Together they make you whole. You are both the creator and the creation. Both the word and the womb. When thought and feeling unite, you become the bridge through which the infinite expresses itself. This is the mystery hidden in every sacred teaching. The word becomes flesh. Thought becomes form. Feeling breathes life into matter. This is the holy trinity of creation. Idea, emotion, manifestation. Nothing exists outside this pattern. So bless your mind for dreaming. Bless your heart for feeling. Bless the unseen process that unites them. Because when the two within you finally move as one, you will stop seeking creation. You will become it. You will imagine and form will respond. You will feel and reality will obey. That is the divine marriage. That is how creation moves through you. Now that the inner union is complete, the next law reveals how to sustain it, how to remain centered as energy moves between extremes. Because even creation must breathe, and energy flows in cycles. The next chapter unveils the law of rhythm, the secret of timing, seasons, and flow. You will discover that life expands and contracts for your growth, and that peace is found not in controlling the rhythm, but in learning how to dance with it. Chapter 9. The Law of Mentalism. You are the thinker and the thought. There comes a moment, often quiet and unexpected, when you realize that everything in your life, every triumph, every heartbreak, every strange coincidence, was set in motion long before it appeared in the physical world. It didn't begin with your words, your actions, or your choices. It began in the invisible field within you, not in the conscious mind you see every day, but in the deeper, subtle field beneath it, the origin point from which all creation emerges. The ancients called this the first law, the law of mentalism. They summarized it in 3 words: all is mind. This was not a metaphor. It was a blueprint. Once you understand this, life stops feeling like a random sequence of events happening to you. Instead, it begins to reveal itself as a reflection of what has been happening through you. For most of your life, you've been conditioned to believe that the external world is separate from your inner state. Thoughts are simply thoughts. Reality is solid, fixed, independent. You push, you strive, you control circumstances, trying to force outcomes. But this is like attempting to smooth ripples on a mirror by touching only the glass. You never reach the true source. You must touch the water beneath. The challenges, patterns, and repeated cycles in your life are not accidents. They are energetic transmissions, broadcasts of consciousness you are tuning into, often unknowingly. This is why change feels so impossible. You cannot escape the reality that your mind continuously recreates. The law of mentalism carries a paradox that unsettles the ego. You do not create reality in the way most people think. You do not manufacture events. You tune into them. Your mind is a delicate instrument, a lens through which the universe becomes visible. When your inner state shifts, the world responds, not because you forced an outcome, but because you entered a frequency that was always there, waiting. 2 people can occupy the same space and experience entirely different worlds. One sees opportunity, the other sees threat. One feels guided, the other lost. The external circumstances remain identical. What differs is the frequency each mind is tuned into. Your consciousness is the lens through which reality unfolds. Every thought you hold is a seed. Some seeds grow into beauty. Others grow into confusion. But all obey the same principle: what you nourish manifests. When you observe a thought without fighting it, resisting it, or judging it, you weaken its grip. It dissolves, like mist in the sunlight. And then something remarkable occurs. A new thought, gentler, clearer, and aligned with your higher frequency, begins to rise. You do not push it. You do not force it. You simply tune toward it like adjusting a radio to a better signal. A subtle warmth spreads, a softening, a quiet brightness. This shift is not imaginary. It is a vibrational doorway into a different version of your life. As your inner state changes, the outer world reorganizes itself to match the frequency you now inhabit. Opportunities arise effortlessly. Old problems dissolve. Synchronicities become the natural rhythm of your days. You are not forcing reality. You are stepping into the version of reality that has always existed for the vibration you now hold. And so, the essential question becomes sacred. If your mind is the generator, if your consciousness is the tuning dial, what reality do you choose to step into now? Not tomorrow. Not when circumstances improve. But now. Every thought is a doorway. Every feeling is a compass. Every moment of awareness is a shift in frequency. You are the thinker. You are the thought. You are the dreamer. You are the dream. When you remember this, you stop trying to escape your life. You stop blaming circumstances or chasing outcomes. You begin to shape reality from the only place creation ever truly begins. The silent, powerful field of your own mind. Before moving forward, pause. Take a deep breath. Observe your thoughts. Notice the seeds you've been nurturing. Which frequencies serve you? Which ones hold you back? Awareness is the key that unlocks this law. The law of mentalism is your reminder. The world is not happening to you. It is happening through you. Your mind is the origin of all that you experience, and mastering it is the beginning of true freedom. Chapter 10. The Law of Divine Compensation. The universe always returns what you give. Nothing in the universe is ever wasted. Every act of love, every word spoken in sincerity, every prayer whispered in faith, every effort offered from the heart returns to its source multiplied. Nothing disappears. Nothing is forgotten. Every vibration you release finds its effect, magnified, perfected, and returned. This is the law of divine compensation, the hidden equilibrium that governs all creation. It is the invisible current that keeps the stars spinning, the planets turning, the oceans flowing, and your heart beating. It is the sacred force that circulates blessings across the cosmos. You are never punished for giving. You are always prepared for receiving. Nothing is taken. Everything is transformed. What you offer in fear contracts. What you offer in love expands. What you hold too tightly slips away, not as loss but as correction. Humanity has largely forgotten this sacred law. We measure giving in material terms, equating abundance with accumulation, scarcity with failure. We hoard, protect, compete, and fear, wondering why life doesn't seem to flow in return. Yet the universe does not respond to fear or control. It responds to vibration. You cannot receive with clenched fists. You cannot breathe with held breath. You cannot experience divine compensation while vibrating in fear of loss. The universe is precise. It mirrors the energy you project. When you give from lack, you multiply lack. When you give from love, you multiply love. This is why the truly abundant never fear giving. They understand that what flows outward in generosity inevitably returns, often multiplied beyond imagination. Here is the subtle secret behind miracles. They are not exceptions to the law. They are the law in action. They are the universe confirming alignment. When your heart and hands operate from love, faith, and joy, the universe does not wait. It mirrors your essence. Divine compensation is not a reward system. It is resonance. It does not honor the appearance of generosity. It honors its essence. The energy behind your action determines what returns. Give love expecting validation, and you will be disappointed. Give love because it is your nature, and you will receive peace. Serve for recognition, and you will feel drained. Serve because service is sacred, and your energy will be renewed. Every action is a declaration of your inner state. When you give from fear, you command the universe to reflect lack. When you give from love, you declare faith in abundance. And the law always responds in perfect proportion. So, how do you align with divine compensation? Begin with awareness. Before giving, pause and sense your vibration. Ask yourself, am I giving to get or am I giving to grow? One mindset leads to exhaustion. The other leads to expansion. The law flows like breath. You inhale because you exhale. You receive because you give. You cannot separate these rhythms. And when they are aligned, life becomes effortless. Practice this consciously. Whenever you give your time, your energy, your love, infuse it with intention. Whisper silently, may this multiply for me and for all. Release it with gratitude. The spiritual essence of abundance is already yours, even before the material form appears. Those who live in true generosity never run out because they understand the principle. Energy given in love always returns, amplified and purified. You cannot outgive the universe. You can only outgrow your fear. Divine compensation is not karma. It is correction, balance, and restoration. When you give bitterness, life returns lessons that soften you. When you give fear, life returns opportunities to trust again. When you give love, life multiplies it endlessly across your experience. Loss is never the end. It is the universe's way of correcting imbalance, of creating space for higher forms of abundance. If you lose money, perhaps you are being taught to trust in flow, not in numbers. If you lose someone, perhaps you are learning that love never leaves. It simply changes form. If you lose direction, perhaps you are being guided back into alignment. Divine compensation never takes. It redirects, it restores, it refines. See through the eyes of spirit, and you will understand. Nothing you thought was lost was ever gone. It returned to the source, purified, ready to come back as greater abundance. Bless everything, what leaves you, what arrives, what is delayed. All of it is the same energy moving in the rhythm of your becoming. The more you bless, the more you receive. The more you resist, the more you block. Gratitude is the language of compensation. It declares, I trust your perfect justice. epilogue, the center of all laws. There is a still point within you where all motion stops, where thought dissolves, emotion quiets, and time itself bows. It is not empty. It is overflowing with intelligence. It is not distant. It resides beneath every breath you take. All the laws, vibration, correspondence, polarity, rhythm, cause, transmutation, gender, compensation lead here, to this still point in your own consciousness. This is the source of every miracle you've ever prayed for. The meeting place between the finite and infinite, where the universe listens. When you rest in this stillness, you realize nothing is outside of you. Everything you seek has been waiting in silence, vibrating beneath the noise of your mind. The universe does not speak in words. It speaks in being. And when you are still enough, you hear its language, the pulse of harmony, the whisper of divine rhythm, the soundless voice that says, "You are home." You are not a fragment lost in space. You are the space itself, the awareness that holds stars, oceans, and galaxies together. When you think, you create. When you feel, you give life. When you rest in silence, you remember who you are. All laws arise from this stillness. All creation flows back to it. There is no law greater than love. There is no love deeper than awareness. Love is the gravity that returns all things to unity, compensates, restores, balances, and heals. In love, there are no opposites, no highs or lows, no giving or receiving, only flow. After all your seeking, all your learning, all your transformation, you arrive where you began, in the stillness that has never moved. That is the final law, not a law of motion but of being. You do not need to reach heaven. You only need to remember that it was never separate. Close your eyes. Feel your breath. That is the breath of the universe moving through you. In this eternal moment, you are not learning the laws. You are becoming them, and in your stillness, creation begins again.